Ooh, Raditz and Bulma sitting in the tree. Hey folks, MasakoX here. As you could probably tell, if you've been knocking around this channel for any reasonable length of time, we like Raditz here. We, as a collective, believe that the brother of Goku has been vastly underrated, given his status in the show, his ticket to the stars for the Dragon team, as well as the very fact he is the brother of the main character. Yet, nothing really got done with it. I mean, we've done our best with the likes of R&R and What If Raditz Turned Good, and even What If the Farmer Defeated Raditz. But we want to experiment with something new. Imagining a world where the brothers have different lives, where our spiky pineapple Sonic the Hedgehog wannabe got the chance to be the main character this time around. We ask you, what if Raditz went to Earth instead of Goku? You'd be surprised what would happen. In the last part, we had Raditz going through some turmoil in terms of his role and sense of self in regards to being a Saiyan on Earth. He didn't really feel like how one should be. Yet, Grandpa Gohan, since he now still is alive, gave him some solace, in that he was a Saiyan who survived, unlike the majority of his people. The ones who had survived were now under the boot of Freeza. Raditz was free. Kakarot really didn't have a good life. Even weaker than Raditz was in the original timeline, the prince delighted in asserting his dominance over this immense weakling of a monkey who not only couldn't fight back, but also couldn't talk back. However, Nappa took the young Kakarot under his wing, taking care of this one more so now than the likes of Vegeta, whose behaviour was getting problematic. Meanwhile on Earth, years later, Raditz grew up to be a big strong boy by the time we get to age 750. Now acquainted with one another, Raditz and Bulma walked through the forest, the latter focused on the dragon radar in her hand, whilst also being like an awkward teenager in the sight of Raditz. She hadn't seen many boys lately, being far too entrenched in not just her quest for the Dragon Balls, but also in her educational studies and preparations for one day taking over the Capsule Corp organization when she would turn 18. I mean, sure, Dr. Briefs wasn't about to retire anytime soon, but he was certainly looking for a way to shift his focus back to the old days, pure inventing instead of running a big corporation at the same time. He'd lost his way. But the quest for these wish-granting orbs, though, had been a really nice interlude for Bulma, away from all of this growing up she was doing. Raditz was in an even more insular position. He had barely seen any girls at all, mostly sticking to the forest, save for the occasional trip to local villages for some supplies that weren't sourceable naturally. However, Raditz sensed something from the direction that they were going. Wait, it's almost as if we're walking back to my house. Really? Said Bulma, looking up briefly. What a weird coincidence. They then turned a couple of corners and, sure enough, they were at Raditz's house. And the radar was pinging like crazy. It is in your house! With that, she bolted toward the door and began to yank at the handle. Raditz, whom had been acting rather bashful most of the time up to now, because girl, snapped out of his stupor and snarled. Hey, watch it! I just repaired that! Grandpa's gonna kill me if that gets broken again! Bulma stopped. Grandpa? Yes, said a curious Gohan who opened the door that had been just rattled madly, almost coming off its hinges. Bulma collected herself and bowed out of respect. Apologies, sir. Forgive my rudeness. That's quite all right, child. How may I be of help? After Bulma explained her situation, Gohan nodded. I see. We were looking for this. He shuffled over to a red dresser drawer and pulled out a box, opening that. There was the 4-star Dragon Ball. Bulma's eyes widened in delight, but Raditz was still unconvinced. You mean that thing is a source of great power? He said with an unimpressed drawl. Haven't you listened to a word I've said? Snarled Bulma. The Dragon Balls are possibly the most precious things in the world. I already have one. It was in my attic for some reason. She pulled her 2-star ball out. Gohan now looked intrigued. So, there are more of them. Interesting. Tell me, what do you intend to wish for on them? Bulma blushed, choosing not to reveal her desires in front of the old man. I'm not sure yet, but I like the idea of an adventure. Raditz liked the sound of that too. Say, Grandpa, do you mind if I tag along with this one? Bulma rounded on him. Raditz, be respectful.
Her name is Bulma. Forgive my boy's impertinence. It's not every day that we have female company.
Bulma nodded in understanding, but still gave the Saiyan a beady eye. But secretly, she did like the idea of getting to know Raditz more and what made him tick. Back in space, Nappa was spending time with Kakarot in his quarters, teaching him how to talk. He was busy making funny faces to show different mouth movements to which the young boy found rather amusing, and Nappa liked that.
You're all right, kid. Vegeta was never this receptive to my teaching.
Nappa, thank you.
Nappa stopped, his face stunned, and its eyes glowing with delight. After all these years of trying, he'd finally gotten some words out of Kakarot.
Ha! Well, I'll be! You did it! And my name was your first word.
He picked up Kakarot in delight and swung him around. The pair were laughing when Vegeta entered the room looking angry.
Nappa! What are you doing wasting time with this trash? You're supposed to be training me for missions. Sorry, Vegeta. I was just about to come get you. Put that disgrace down and get on with it. Why don't we bring Kakarot along? So he can, start to...
No, I want to teach Kakarot personally.
He looked evilly at Kakarot, like he was going to enjoy beating this whelp to a pulp once more. The prince turned away, expecting Nappa to follow. The big lug put Kakarot down and went to the door.
I'll be back soon, kid. If Vegeta's gonna be a teacher, I'm gonna have to get you up to speed.
He walked out and the door shut. Nappa then finished his sentence outside of Kakarot's earshot.
Just so you don't go in completely defenseless.
Meanwhile, Freeza was paying close attention to the development of Kakarot. He had found the notion of a completely fresh and unblemished Saiyan to be a rather compelling opportunity. After Nappa had finished his training with Vegeta, Freeza called the attendant to his quarters. A rare event indeed.
Do enter.
Nappa bowed to Freeza, albeit reluctantly.
How can I help, Lord Freeza?
That youngling that clings to your side all the time, Kakarot, how is his education going?
Very slowly, Lord Freeza, but he's a good boy. Very attentive.
Would you say he's quite compliant?
I'd say so.
Good. I wish for you to bring him here. I would like to bring him under my wing from now on.
Wait, don't you have Prince Vegeta?
He's far too reckless and resistant these days. I grow weary of him. Kakarot, though, very interesting indeed. I would like for you to break the news to the prince yourself. Try not to be too blunt with him. I would rather him not blow up any more underlings in his temper tantrums. It's so much hassle clearing up the mess.
He motioned for Nappa to leave and do what he bid, and so the Saiyan did just that. When he got to Kakarot's quarters, the boy was busy reading a book and moving his mouth to mimic talking. Nappa smiled, not sure what to think. Granted, it was good that Freeza was fast-tracking the boy for something more, but was that for noble causes or something more selfish? And what about the prince? He bent down to Kakarot.
Hey, little guy. Lord Freeza would like a word with you.
He grabbed Kakarot's hand, and the pair walked off to the throne room, ready to hear his destiny, or fate. Back on Earth, Bulma and Raditz had set out on their quest for the other Dragon Balls, Gohan suggesting that they should seek out his old friend Master Roshi, if their journey took them near the ocean by chance. He might be of use to Raditz with his additional endeavour in developing his training. Bulma looked to Raditz and his already impressive physique. Are you looking to get stronger, Raditz? The Saiyan very much liked talking about this kind of thing, and so relished in this question.
Oh yes, Grandpa sees great things in me and my potential. I wish to be the greatest fighter on the planet.
Well, you're quite robust already, since my car took more damage than you.
"'Tis but a scratch."
Raditz puffed his chest out.
"A sign of how good Grandpa's training was. I can't wait to test my might against that Roshi guy."
Oh, Raditz, you have no idea what you're going to be in for.
Say, I haven't done any weight training today. Do you mind if
He motioned to his back as if to ask her to rest on his shoulders and give her a piggyback. Bulma blushed and wavered before looking at him with a coy expression. All right. She got on his shoulders and wrapped her legs around his torso. Raditz then looked forward so that Bulma couldn't see his face beet red again, feeling her thighs resting by his ears.
Okay, here I go. Hold tight.
The Saiyan then began to run at a fantastic speed, giving some cars a run for their money. Bulma found this rather thrilling. Who needed vehicles when you had a strong lad to carry you places? She felt like a queen. After a couple of hours, Bulma was now getting a bit intrigued rather than thrilled. How long could this boy keep on running? At the same speed? Hey, aren't you tired? Raditz was in his stride, having gotten used to her weight on his shoulders.
Nope, I'm good.
Well, I'm getting a little sleepy. Do you mind if we set up camp?
Raditz slowed down a bit.
Set up camp? How? You've got no equipment and stuff.
Oh, I do.
She winked with a sense of pride. When Raditz stopped and Bulma got down, she picked up one of her capsules and chucked it on the ground. It exploded with a poof, and out of it came a house.
You were carrying a house all this time? This is bigger than Grandpa's.
Yup, said Bulma. Classic capsule corp miniaturization. Means we don't have to slum it. And you could do with a bath.
Raditz sniffed himself and looked a little embarrassed.
Yeah, I kind of do.
With that, he walked inside and took a look at the interior. It was ultra modern, nothing like he had seen before. When Raditz had had his shower, he walked out of the cubicle with just a towel, just blazingly like that. Bulma getting a good look at his ripped abs.
You could grind meat on those,
she thought with a tinge of lust in her mind.
Are you all right, Bulma? You look kind of weird.
He pointed out her face was looking like it had a gawped expression on it, and she regained her composure.
Yeah, I'm fine. I was just studying,
She was looking around for something scientific to pick up.
This.
She picked up the radar. It luckily was still on.
The next Dragon Ball isn't far away. About 100 miles away. Somewhere near the sea.
Just then, they could hear a commotion from outside. When they poked their heads out to look, they could see a turtle looking rather flustered, looking around madly for something.
Are you all right there, Turtle?
The turtle looked at the large boy and flinched.
Don't eat me. Eat you? Relax, I won't. I'm not a fan of turtle soup anyway.
The turtle felt better?
Well, since I know you're not gonna eat me, could you help me? I'm a little lost.
Bulma, now having studied the creature, spoke up.
I'll say. You're supposed to be in water. How did you wind up this far inland?
All I care about now is to get home. Can you take me there?
Raditz looked confident.
No problem. I've been carrying Bulma here for miles already, and I'm sure you're lighter than her.
What are you trying to say?
Oh, he's right. I'm quite light, you know, despite my size. I would be so grateful for your help, friend.
Name's Raditz.
He walked over to the turtle and picked him up under his arm.
Sorry, Bulma. We'll have to set up camp somewhere else. But don't worry, this won't take long. I'm going to go all out.
Bulma, looking a little put out, packed the house away and instead pulled out a motorcycle. With that, the trio motored their way to the ocean. Back on Frieza's mothership, Prince Vegeta had indeed not taken the news about his demotion well. Effectively, Kakarot was now untouchable, since he was now a person of interest to Lord Freeza. Oh, how he missed beating up Kakarot. The whelp was now even somewhat of a decent punching bag these days, the beatings now having seemingly toughened him up quite a bit from when he first came into the Frieza Force fold. That's Zenkai for you. Now he wouldn't get that anymore. The boy now becoming Frieza's pet monkey. A Frieza's pet. This sent Vegeta into real grump. However, he had little time to dwell on this. Frieza had now a test for he and Nappa, the two strongest Saiyans in his force. He was now tasking them on a mission that would go on to be what they do on the regular. The prince now old enough seemingly to head them. Once I've gotten young Kakarot here up to speed, he will accompany you to... Kakarot looked happy to be possibly working with Nappa, and now that Vegeta couldn't hurt him because of orders, he wasn't as scared of him anymore. Vegeta though scowled at the prospect, but there was nothing he could do about this, so he just had to go with it. At least he was being allowed outside of the Frieza Force stronghold to play, as it were. It was something. After just 1 hour, Raditz, Bulma and the turtle arrived at the ocean shore, the creature being ever so grateful to be back in its natural habitat.
If you can be patient, I'll be back with a gift for your trouble. Don't worry, I'm much faster in water than I am on land.
Raditz and Bulma sat down patiently.
does one of your capsules have a campfire in it?
No, fire and capsules don't play well together. We tried it and, yeah, it didn't come out well.
After about 20 minutes, the Dragon Radar began to ping. The Dragon Ball they were looking for was on the move. It was approaching them at quite the speed. Minutes later, it was on top of them, and so was Turtle and an old man riding the top of him. The elderly gent adjusted his glasses and looked to the pair.
Hello there, General Roshi.
Sorry.
Thank you for saving my friend. My name is Muten Roshi. How can I repay you?
After Bulma had processed the situation, she spotted the Dragon Ball located around Roshi's neck.
If you don't mind, we'd like that Dragon Ball there.
She pointed to his neck.
Oh, sorry, no can do. This is very important to me. Come on, old man,
Shouted Raditz, him forgetting his place.
Grandpa said we meet a friendly old man, not a mean one.
Roshi then adjusted his glasses again.
Grandpa, eh?
He turned to Raditz.
I see. Is his name Gohan by any chance? Yes? Ah, you must be Raditz, the tall boy he found in those woods those years ago. Fascinating.
So you're Master Roshi? Said Bulma.
That's me. Now I might be more willing to lend you the Dragon Ball in exchange for something.
He eyed up Bulma's figure, her recoiling in disgust. Raditz, though, looked determined. Now's my chance to impress. With his power at max, Raditz after-imaged out of sight, and when he reappeared, he had the Dragon Ball in his hand. Roshi looked down to his pendant to see that it had truly gone.
What? How did you? Easy. You're too slow, old man.
Roshi was floored. He couldn't sense that sudden bursting ki to go that fast. But now that he had thought about it, he could sense something going on earlier, something speeding toward him, the ocean shore. Was that the same guy?
If you weren't Gohan's boy, I'd slap you across the head for that insolent action. But I will admit, that was impressive. If I remember correctly, when I last spoke with Gohan, you were looking for a master.
Raditz nodded enthusiastically.
Yep. Are you that master? No. Huh? It's not as simple as asking and receiving, boy. You've got to earn my respect. That little stunt just now was enough to pique my interest. You've got to do more.
He then looked back to the ocean.
Excuse me.
He turned around and headed back to the ocean with Turtle. But with Bulma and Raditz in hot pursuit this time, Raditz able to run so fast to literally walk on water, him keen to impress more.
Is this enough, old man? No, I can do that in my sleep.
When they arrived at Kami House, things looked a little worse for wear. The place had been ransacked, but nothing had been taken.
Somebody's been paying a visit, the old man said. And I got a feeling who it might be. Somebody was after that Dragon Ball. You wanted a chance to impress me, boy? Well, looks like it's your lucky day.
And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you folks think? How fast will Raditz get the job done? Will the next saga end sooner than you expect? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!